As a student, at that time in the UK, I took a year off and did what you...
In those days, we used to call it hitchhiking. And I hitchhiked all across Europe. At one point from London all the way to Greece. And during this time, I had to cross that Iron Curtain. I crossed over, and the biggest shock for me was when I crossed over in Germany. On one side was an incredibly prosperous, incredibly modern society. And when you crossed over into East Germany, it was a brutal, stark, cold society that had been left behind 30 years ago. On one side, you had cars like the best cars in the world, the BMW, the Mercedes-Benz, the Audi, driving. Are you with me? On the autobahns. And you cross over, and they had this plastic little three-wheeler called Stasi. Is that right? It was called something like that. What was it called? Trabant. Stasi was the police. The Stasi were everywhere. They were secret police, you know. Police are always the problem. They're last to understand. Nevertheless, here we had such a marked difference between the two sides of the Iron Curtain. And what happened to this Iron Curtain? What happened to this Cold War between two of the world's most powerful nations without a single bullet being fired? The Iron Curtain came down. The Cold War ended. It was brought down by the brutal realities of simple economics. And there is no greater power than economics. It doesn't matter how big an army you have. It doesn't matter how many missiles you have. Two nations that were destroyed after World War II. And they were destroyed to the ground, annihilated. Buildings, history, wiped out were Germany and Japan. In Japan is the only country in the world where the nuclear bomb had been used, not once, but twice. Hiroshima, Nagasaki. It was a brutal destruction of a nation. So brutal, in fact, that even 5-10 years later, they were still recovering from that war. But Germany and Japan, what happened to them? As a result of that war, they were destroyed and annihilated to their knees. And today, Germany and Japan, third and fourth largest economies in the world. Simple. There is no Japanese army. There is no real German army either. There's no need for it. Both Japan and Germany influenced the world to a fantastic degree, simply through the might of economics. China has the world's largest standing army. Do they need it? No. They are everywhere. We buy everything. Walk into your house, most of your house has something from China. Your fans, your tape recorders, your cassette players, your this, that, the other, fridge, etc. At one time it was Japan, today it's China. Everything is made in China. Am I right? They are everywhere. And they have a great deal of influence without needing to fire a single gun. Guns belong to a time a barbaric past that we should leave behind. Today we are in a war, but one that is fought here, and it's fought, as I said, with laptops, with iPhones, with smartphones, over the internet, reaching out. Are you with me? Governments have been brought down simply because of that. Are you with me? And that is your greatest, most powerful tool today. Your greatest and most powerful voice today. That you can reach out all over the world. You don't need to be sitting exactly where you are and think only locally. Think locally but build globally.